You ready to show them? You want to show them favorite pasta? Huh? You love it, don't you? One of our favorite pastas in the Fieri family is carbonara. Now, carbonara is one of those dishes that I think has been screwed up so many times, but I'm gonna show you how I do carbonara, and you're gonna love it. So why does Smokey like carbonara? Because it all kicks off with pancetta, right? Huh, Smokey Dog? Yeah, a little beggar. So pancetta is bacon, but it's not smoked. Right here, that's the bacon. If we unravel this, we can. If we unravel this, that's the pork belly right there. The Italians make it look a lot cooler. So what we've done is asked for about a 1/4 inch. We're gonna go ahead and give it about the same 1/4 inch, well, maybe a 1/2 inch. Give it a little cut. The colder this pancetta is, the easier it's gonna be to work with. When it starts getting a little warm, it starts getting a little slick, it starts sliding around. So carbonara, what is it again? So it's pancetta, egg yolks, little parsley, and some great pasta, and that's just about it, folks. When you start seeing peas in it, when you start seeing heavy cream added to it, you're not really having carbonara. I think this is about as close to traditional as you'll find. I could be screwing something up, but this is the way we make it, okay? So I've got a pan here, diced up that pancetta. I don't want to be too hot when I go into the pan. So we're just gonna let this go medium to low heat. If we get this too hot too fast, we're not gonna render that fat out. We're gonna use that fat in the dish, but most importantly is we want that pancetta to be nice and crispy. Okay, pancetta's working, rendering down nicely. Hot water, boiling water, screaming water. This water's gotta be going. And how much water are we looking for? Come on, I'm gonna ask you at home. I know you're checking your phone right now. It's a gallon of water to a tablespoon of salt. This is where we miss it so often. People go like this, and I'm not kidding you, I watch it all the time. Okay, we're salted. No way. This is getting salted, okay? I don't eat pasta like I used to, but I'll tell you what, when we're gonna do it right. We're gonna use the right amount of water, we're gonna salt it the right way, and we're gonna use great pasta. And the pasta we're gonna use is called bucatini, okay? Bucatini is spaghetti with a hole in the middle. Right there. I'm gonna tell you a statement that we use all the time, and that is pasta waits for no one. I want this sauce done, I want this ready to go, and then I'll drop my pasta. And the reason is, as long as it's hot and as long as it has moisture, it's gonna continue to cook. And the deal is, overcooked pasta, nothing could be worse. We know how to cut the onion, right? Simple little method, cut off the top. That's where the onion grew from. That's the belly button of the onion. If you keep this onion together, it's gonna make it a lot easier to dice. Now, make sure we peel down deep enough into that onion, because that one layer that you don't go and grab, like this one right here, it's like shoe leather. You can cut it up all you want, it's never gonna break down. Get that real nice, tender, juicy inside of the onion. We'll cut through here. This is gonna give us the chance to almost have it pre-diced. Look at it, make sure it's uniform. We want that onion to really disappear into this dish. Let's get into the pasta. There's a lot going on in the world of pasta. There's great pastas, there's cheap pastas. Why is one cost a bunch and one cost a little? I want you to look at the pasta here real quick. And it's got kind of this dry texture to it, almost kind of like it's handmade. I want you to spend the money. You're gonna notice that when you cook this pasta, it's gonna take it longer to cook. It's gonna be harder. You're gonna be mixing it in here, and you're like, why is this thing so hard? Because it's the way the pasta's dried. When the pasta gets a chance to really naturally dry, it's gonna lose more of its moisture. The more moisture that's out of it, the drier the pasta is, the longer it takes to reconstitute or rehydrate, okay? So the bucatini, water's boiling. We're gonna go in. Now this is where it gets critical, folks. I'm not ready, because my pancetta's not ready. Hang on a second. And I've got this slotted spoon so I can pull the pancetta. Let me let that pancetta continue to work. Let me get into my eggs real quick. I got a lot of moving parts here. It's simple, but it's super important to follow the rules with this. The eggs. So we're gonna go, the better the egg. When we have the eggs from the chicken coop, the organic eggs, I mixed that up, I went backwards, but it's all right. Egg yolks. The better, if you can find really dynamite organic eggs where those yolks are just golden orange, it's just gonna make you better carbonara. Get the whites out, more yolks the better. And you know I'm not an egg fan, right? But I'll tell you something, the one time that they really do work is for this and for Caesar dressing. All right, take a look at this. Nice, crispy, beautiful pancetta. I should probably taste that just in the name of science. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. Still tender, not too crispy. Let that fat sit at the bottom of the pan. And why am I doing this? Because I want to reserve that fat. Now, this isn't the same kind of fat, the same kind of flavor that you get from bacon. This isn't nearly as smoky. This is actually a little bit saltier. And I can't, why did I not put the onions in right now? Because I don't want to waste my crispiness. You know, I'll tell you something. I remember when I first got on the Food Network, someone walked up to me and said, hey, when you do a cookbook, can you make sure that the recipes are real? And I said, what does that mean? They said, well, I bought some of those cookbooks from some of the famous chefs. And, oh, look who just showed up. Hi, Smokey. Said, I bought one of those cookbooks, and I don't know that the recipe was that real. I said, well, what happened? Well, I did this, I did this. I said, wait a second, did you follow the steps, or did you just add all the ingredients? Yeah, I don't know ingredients. I mean, why do you have all the steps? They make it a lot harder that way. I said, because that's the whole process. You shortcut this, you put those onions in with that pancetta right now, you're gonna sog up that pancetta, all that moisture coming in from the onion. And we get to use that delicious fat. All right, so we're gonna let the onions sweat a little bit. Let me give that a touch of salt. Gotta watch the salt content of this. You're gonna have salt. I'm gonna help this to pull some of the moisture out of the onions, but let's watch it. We got a lot of salt in the pancetta. Not all pancetta is the same, all right? So you get that pancetta that's super salty, your dish is gonna be salty. Plus, we have my favorite cheese, Parmigiano-Reggiano. This is from Parma, Italy. This is the bomb. Hunter and I were in Italy together, and when we went through Parma, we went and actually made Parmesan cheese.
I'm going to cheese heaven. This is it, man.
This is the key. Again, when I talk about critical basics, really good eggs, really good Parmesan cheese, really good bucatini, really good pancetta. Do it the right way, and you're gonna have a rock star dish. You get a little cracked black pepper. All right, we're gonna drop pasta. Still boiling water. You start potatoes in cold water and bring them to a simmer. But why do we start pasta with boiling water and drop it in? Well, the potato we're cooking from the inside out, and we're cooking this big potato. On this pasta, we are literally cooking from the outside in, and we're gonna get right to the inside of the pasta where it just has a little bit of bite to it, and what we call al dente, dente tooth, Latin, I guess. But that is the key, is the pasta waits for no one. This is all ready to go. We'll drop the pasta. Remember, we salted it with a tablespoon of salt. No, there's no breaking the pasta. Take a look right here. This is starting to cook, and this is sitting out. We spent a little bit of time, that first 30 seconds, and get in here and work this around and make sure that everybody's in the pool. You also notice that I have the strainer inside of the pot. It gives us a chance to pull the pasta immediately, not have to go to the sink and do all that, but it also retains that pasta water, which is gonna be super critical in the finale of this dish because we're not gonna add cream to it, and we have to have some other body, some other medium to work with to make this nice and creamy, and it's gonna be that pasta water. One of the things I always say about cooking, you gotta be present. When you're here doing this isn't time to check your email. Anything gets off, we burn those onions or over-caramelize them. We overcook that pasta, we overcook this pancetta, anything. There's only a few spokes in this wheel of the bike going to Flavor Town, all right? So we can't mess that up. We gotta stay with it. Onions are almost done. Our pasta's just about finished. I've got some of this Parmigiano-Reggiano, really nicely grated. We're gonna mix that in to the eggs, and then we're gonna temper the eggs into this mixture with the onions. And when I say temper it, we gotta go in nice and slow, otherwise we're gonna make ourselves an omelet, and that's not what we want. This is where it gets kind of, not iffy, but you really gotta be on top of this. Onions are beautiful. Take a look at that pasta, and I'm on that pasta all day long. I can tell by when I start pulling it out of the pot whether or not we're there. Just a little white dot in the center of it. Take my gonna go into a mixing bowl. Now, why into the mixing bowl and not into the pan? I wanna show you a method that I think is gonna be a little bit more helpful to you, because if you go into this pan and it's super, super hot, you have a real good chance of cooking these eggs. So now I'm gonna take my onions with the pancetta fat right in there. I've got my eggs done with my Parmesan cheese, and I am mixing this as fast as I can to keep this from setting up on me and turning into an omelet. Oh, I am telling you, you're gonna love this. A little bit more of the egg. Can't have really enough egg in this. Did you ever think you'd hear that from me? Now, as we say, and as I've learned forever, pasta is not a castle. So it should not sit in a moat of sauce. We are amalgamating all those beautiful onions, that Parmesan cheese, and those eggs, and it should just be sticking right to that pasta with that cheese. Oh. Fortunately, I'm so quick with the knife, I won't have to worry about this. Should have my parsley prepped out. I want to add a little color to this. It really needs it, and that little herbaceousness. That pasta was retaining some water, but you could see how it started to dry up a little bit. Just a touch of water, not a bunch. It's gonna rehydrate. What's gonna do is it's gonna let that creaminess of that cheese wake back up. Just give myself a little serving of this. I want you to see how golden. Nest the pasta when we put it down and stand it up a little bit. Grab some of the bits from the bottom. Is your mouth watering yet? Mine is. Okay. Touch more of that cheese. And you know the great thing about this, and we do this a lot for Christmas, is we serve in courses. And I'll serve pasta just like that, a small, little, beautiful portion. Let me show you the right way to get into this pasta, by the way. We don't use any spoons. Once you grab the edge of that fork, grab about 2 strands, and I want you to bring that pasta right over here to the side. And you can tell it's al dente the way it kind of sweeps that plate. It's simple, it's basic, and it's tons of flavor. Got the old Triple D step back. When you watch Triple D and I take a bite of something and it really gets going, that's what happens. Not one piece of this is standing out past the other. You get the crispy bacon, you get the creaminess, that unctuous sauce made from the cheese and the egg, you get that beautiful sweetness from the caramelized onion. And the perfectly cooked pasta. People are flying in to get the recipe. You guys got it, check it out, make it at home, your family's gonna love it. Adios.
Cacio e Pepe. You know, you start the pan cold with the pancetta. Let the pancetta really render down. The idea is to turn into these little crunchy bits of tender bacon. So the textural experience is really there. The pancetta, when I'm cooking pancetta, I usually have to make about twice as much because my dad will smell it. Well, you saw Roxy, she just came by, she smelled it, and then I eat it. I know you can't tell. But the pancetta is so awesome. The key to this was really is making sure that we went low and slow to really render it down, and these are actually crunchy. They got that nice little bacon crunch. They're nice and salty, and I'm gonna leave all this rendered fat in there, and this is gonna come together for the sauce for the Cacio Pepe. So, you go to Rome, you'll taste a dish, you'll say this is so simple, but why is it so delicious? Really quality ingredients. Okay, we'll leave that staying warm. Let me grab some half and half. One of my favorite dishes of all time is Cacio Pepe. It doesn't need the cream, but I wanted a little more richness to it. I felt it would be more palatable to people to have a little bit of cream into it, just a touch, not overdone. A little black pepper, a little unsalted butter, and we'll let this just reduce down a little bit. And then the Parmesan cheese that's gonna go in here with the pecorino that's gonna go in here. Dynamite. Okay, now let's get over here. Now you see this right here, I got this cream reducing. Not reducing too much, don't worry about this. What I'm gonna do now is add back in the pancetta, nice and crunchy. Put fat in there for all that fantastic flavor. Let me get a little bit of the Pecorino Romano. So this is that nice salty sheep's cheese, again from Rome. Touch of that. This is gonna tighten up a bunch on you. Don't worry about it because we'll save some of that pasta water and get it in there. Also a little, my favorite, Parmigiano-Reggiano. Touch of that in there. Okay, stir that up. And I got boiling water. Now, what's the key with the boiling water? Well, I'll tell you something. If there's one thing that you'll hear in Italy, you'll hear from everybody, is that pasta waits for no one. So everything's gotta be done. I'm gonna turn the heat off on this. The pasta has gotta be done perfectly al dente. So the sauce is done, the salad's done, the dessert is finished. I'll hit a little salt into there. Get some really good linguine. Water's boiling. Drop that in. This is how you get it done right here. Some fantastic al dente linguine going into this Roman pasta dish with cheese and fresh cracked black pepper. Look at that. And a little pancetta. Oh yeah, and a little bit of cream. So we're gonna dump that right in. Now I always reserve my pasta water just in case I need some. Outstanding. So what we've got here is a little pancetta that was cooked down. I'm just looking at how much sauce I have, how it's gonna coat that pasta. You gotta remember something. This is Italian style, so it's not a ton of sauce just running all over the plate. It is a little bit tight. So, some water. And I'm gonna add a little bit more of the Parmigiano-Reggiano and as well as the pecorino, that fantastic sheep's cheese. Okay, so we'll let that just kind of absorb there. We wanna give this a nice little presentation, not splatter it all over the place. We call this nesting in the restaurants. Right on top. You can see how that pasta just started to absorb the last of the sauce. We'll get all of the goodness right up on top. Oh yeah, awesome. Okay, set that down. Now, little fresh parsley. It's been washed, just hand torn. This is nice and rustic. There we go. A little bit more of the parm, the pecorino right on top. Isn't that beautiful? The flavor's gonna be outrageous. Talked about it the whole time. Just use really good ingredients, treat it with a lot of respect, cook it the right way, and last but not least, fresh cracked black pepper. That's what it is, cheese and pepper. There you go. Okay, nest that up. Okay, there we go. Now, when you go to Italy, this is one thing I will tell you. Do not ask for a spoon to twirl that pasta. Grab a little bit to the side, bring it over here to the side of your plate, twirl it up. Take some time, sit there and enjoy this. Outrageous. Creamy, salty, a lot of pepper. I love fresh cracked black pepper. Here we go. We're gonna take this chicken breast and cut this and plop it into the pan. Now, any of the seasoning that's left over, unfortunately, you can't use again, so be a little sparing with it. A little bit of the blackening spice. Now, that pan's getting nice and hot while we're working right now, and we're gonna add just a little bit of canola oil to it, just to make sure that when the chicken breast first goes in, that it doesn't stick right to it. Get the seasoning really packed into these breasts, okay, like so. Take a look at that. Now let's hit the other sides. All right. Pack them in with your finger, and there we are. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Look at the colors, look at the blackening. It's not the chicken, it's actually the spices that you're seeing. We're gonna get that onto that side, and then we're gonna transfer it to the oven where we're gonna let it cook for a little bit longer and make sure that we cook that chicken all the way through. Now, take these chicken breasts in the blackening skillet, pop it into the oven, at 350, let this hang out in there a little bit. So before we drop the pasta, let's season that water a bit. There we go. And in with about a pound. Now take a second when you first pop that pasta in the water because you don't want the pasta to cook at the bottom and not at the top. So we're gonna get that all worked down into the pot. Just pulling these blackened breasts out of the oven. Look at those. We're gonna let these rest on the cutting board for a little bit so when we cut into them, we don't lose all the great juices and flavor. But while those are resting, we're gonna get started on this Cajun chicken Alfredo sauce. So, a nice big skillet will work great. Get some heat going on that, and time to go to the fridge. Now, the heavy cream, of course, for the Alfredo, but what is the real key ingredient? It's the white wine. We are going to add a little bit of white wine to it to deglaze it. And some of my favorite sun-dried tomatoes. Marinated sun-dried tomatoes. So let's get these up here. Now we do need a couple cloves of garlic also. Those are real key important. And what we're gonna do is something different on these cloves. On these cloves, we're not gonna put them in the press. Why? Well, we wanna go ahead and mince them up. Now it's gonna be a little bit bigger piece than when we actually do it in the press. And that is because when it goes in the pan, if it's too small, has a tendency to burn a little bit more. So let's break these down. So this should just finish this up and my pan should be ready to go. So
Let's hit it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. In with this minced garlic. Ah, beautiful. And I'm gonna do enough sun-dried tomatoes here to have some for the Cajun chicken Alfredo. Mince those up. Those go in. Now let's get to the chicken breast, because we're gonna cut this chicken breast up kind of in a little bit of a julienne. Pop those in. Oh, you should smell that garlic working right now. Watching that garlic so it doesn't get into the burn stage. Let's hit it with a little bit of kosher salt and a little fresh cracked pepper. Oh boy. A little white wine. Stand back, that could flare up on you. And the sauce that's going to tie it all together for the Alfredo part of it, some heavy cream. Looks great. And right into the pot. Pasta down first and put the chicken up on top so everybody can see it. There we go. And I'm going to hit it with a little bit of oil. So what's going to happen here, this is actually a dish that's kind of come off of an Italian dish called a matriciana. And what happens, it's a spicy dish. It's got a little bit of heat to it, but it's got bacon and tomatoes. Now, the bacon that you can use in this, I'm just using regular bacon because that's what I have, but pancetta would work nice because it doesn't have any of the smokiness, but this will just be fine the way this is my Guido version, okay? I'm going to cut this up. There we go. So that'll all start to break apart in just a second. I cooked this bacon down and want it to be nice and crispy. And I cut it ahead of time versus doing it in the long pieces, because when you do it in the long pieces like you're doing for breakfast, you have a tendency that certain areas don't get cooked as far as the other. Okay, so I pull these out. And this is going into the tomato and bacon pasta, which is kind of a spicy bacon, onion, garlic, tomato pasta, real nice light sauce. And some water working for it. So there's a little residual in there. I need to hit it with a little bit of olive oil. There we go. You do it as you like. The red onions that I chopped up. Yep, pan's ready. Got to make sure I got some sizzle going there. Okay. The garlic that I did in the food processor, about a quarter cup of that. I'm going to lay that right on top of the onions for a second and wait for the onions to cook a bit. And then a little red chili flake. Now the chili flake, I love spicy food, but you know, sometimes these could get like little nuggets in there and they're hot, kind of like we deal with jalapenos. I'm gonna throw this down into the oil and let that kind of work its way into the oil, moves the heat all around the dish. Okay, so that's working. Let me get some salt on this water. Use a big stock pot. Use a lot of water. Cook this pasta the right way. Pasta really needs to be treated with respect. What happens, it gets overcooked, or we try to put too much pasta into too small amount of water. That's not what we want to have happen. Got a nice hard boil going. Get the pasta down in. There we go. Okay. 2. All right, now we're going to move all this together. And again, I'm not doing super high heat on this. Not really looking for a big caramelization on it. Looking to cook everything, pull all the flavor out. Okay. That's there. I'm going to hold on to that bacon because after I make this whole sauce, right before I toss it with the pasta, I'm going to throw the crunchy bacon in there. Going to hit it with a little bit of salt, a little fresh cracked black. And let's get these aromas down. Put more in if you're going to if you want it more saucy. This is just going to be kind of a nice light accompaniment sauce to go with this pasta because there's so much big flavor already going on. Here's the deglazing. This is tomato and bacon pasta I'm making. Hit it with a little Sonoma County cab. Now what that's going to do is deglaze the bottom of that pan, pull some flavor off. There we go. Okay. Excellent. And now I need to get in some of that bacon that I did, some Parmesan cheese, and some chiffonade basil. Okay, so we distribute that around. The crunchy bacon, I didn't put that in too soon. If I put it in too soon, it would have got all soft from the tomato sauce. And then a little bit of Reggiano Parmigiana. Had the deli grate it for me because I knew I was going to be going through a lot. Look at that. Now the bacon's going to work in 2 different ways. 1, it's going to be a nice crunchy topping. And 2, it's going to work as the base of my, my roux that's going to work with my cream to tighten up to make my cheese sauce. Yes. I know you're all... Bacon, cheese sauce, yeah, my middle name. Okay.
Open those bad boys up, get that garlic out. This is a great way to do it. I'll tell you, if you take some garlic like this whole thing I did with the shallots, and go ahead and make a spread out of it and put it on top of some bread and hit a little fresh Roma tomatoes on top of that, you will love it. Who took my knife? That one's... Turkey man took it? It's getting close to your day, isn't it? Okay, give these a quick little chop up. Talk amongst yourselves. Your favorite turkey recipe? These go in. Now, so I've got some hot oil. I got the shallots and garlic. They're doing their time. Let's get over with a little bit of flour. Why do you keep putting these over here? What's your... I don't know what your problem... I mean, the whole time. Okay, a little bit of flour goes down. Make some roux. Try not to ruin... No, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to say it. I let it go. Come on. Halfway through, I let it go. Okay? Now, here we go. We get this down. Now, we could put a little color on this if we want, kind of darken it up if we were doing a gumbo or something. But right now, I'm making it kind of blonde. Now, I'm going to hit him with some cream. Now, the cream's been doing some thyme. That I can do. Okay? Let me scoop that thyme out of there. Get that out of the way. Okay, now what's happened here is it's reduced by about 1/3. Now, adding the warm cream in right now is kind of the kicker. If you put in the cold cream on top of the flour, that's when you don't know why you get mystery dumplings in your gravy. Okay, so just a little at a time, right in on top of that. And this works as the bridge to adding in our cheese. So people make mac and cheese and they say, well, as soon as I heat my cheese up in the microwave, I don't have anything against microwaves. But as soon as you heat up the microwave, it all kind of tightens up so much. You get that big clump at the bottom of the fondue pot. It's because you push the cheese too fast, and it kind of tightens up and forms into a ball. So, there we go. Done with this guy. You know the movie? Done with this guy. All right, now we get a little pepper jack. Jack cheese works great at... Members of the Pepper Jack Society over here. So we get the cheese in. Get a little cheddar in. Again. I'm gonna save just a little. Forget it, everybody. Like we're watching our diet today. Okay, stir this up into here. Just kind of get it coated with that. Let me get a little salt and pepper down on it. There we go. There we go. Okay, now reach over. Hot, hot, yeah. Let that drain out a second. Try not to drop it. Now, I like to use penne in mine. I'm not a big, I like to use the elbow macaroni when I'm making mac salad. But this right here, this has got some real nice texture to it. So the penne is my way to go. Rigate, with the edges on it, so it holds some sauce. Okay, so we mix that around. Now, man, I've got every utensil I own out. Let's see here. Clear a landing spot, somebody. Down into the dish. Now, this is already cooked. Oh, I know. I'm crying inside. Good call. Little panko on top. There we go. We're gonna hit a little bit of parsley on top of that for some great color. What do you think with that bacon? You think I should do time with that? Absolutely. A little bit of bacon. There we are, and I got some olive oil here. Now what's gonna happen, I'm gonna pop this in the oven about 350 for about 20 minutes and let that brown up nice. But believe it or not, I got another one. And one of the things I like about Off the Hook is you all get to eat some of it.